Hi, it's Jake at Canadian Cutting Edge, and today we're going to take a look at the Lansky Responder. This knife right here, it's been on the market for a few years now. This was Lansky's attempt to get into the knife market. Let's take a look at it. A couple videos ago, I should say, this knife, the Gonzo G11, a 711 photobombed video. Those of you who are looking forward to a review on this are going to have to wait a little while longer. The next review is probably going to be the 730 by Lansky. It looks a lot like something else you've seen a lot of, I'm pretty sure. All right, for today, we're going to take a look at this responder. Come on down to the tabletop, and we'll take a good look at it. Okay, here we've got the knife. A 3.5-inch blade. A big, heavy blade. It's got a lot of weight right here next to the fulcrum. It's over 3 millimeters thick. It's got a little bit milled out section there, and it makes for a heavy knife, 5.5 ounces. But at 5.5 ounces, if you need to hold it like this instead of, to break some glass, you can do that with that tip, or to convince somebody to change their mind, you can use that end. Or don't hold it in your hand this way and throw a punch. You're going to break your fingers. The blade is a really cool shape. I just love how it looks. It's got this really aggressive sort of duckbill, angry duckbill look, doesn't it? Some people call that sort of like a sheep's foot. I'm not sure what to call it. I call it a swoop with a drop point and a swedge for accent. Hollow grind here that's fairly low hollow grind. The hollow grind and the swedge here are stone washed. So they stone washed the entire blade part, and then they went back into the grinder and took down these flat edges here. It gives a nice contrasting, two-tone-ish kind of thing going on. Really nice. But with the weight of it all being next to the pivot here, it makes it a poor flipper. If you use just the light switch, you're never going to get the thing to go. Ah, there I did. Sorry, I eat my words. But it's just barely going to want to go. If you use a lot of pressure thing, you can get it to go with a little more a little more convincingly, but I can't get it to go consistently. But that being said, I've never been that big of a flipper. I just don't have that skill. Just like I'm not a great paper cutter. Growing up, I never used a knife to cut paper. So that's sort of a trick to show how sharp it is. You can also do the trick of putting the knife on your fingernail, and if it grabs, it's pretty sharp. And it sort of grabbed. Did you see that little bit of fingernail that came off? Yeah, there it is right there. So it takes a nice edge and holds it sharp, and it came fairly sharp out of the package. It's 440C steel, which is what you find in most of the Gonzo knives and other, low budget, high value knives. And it takes its edge pretty good. I bought mine along together with the Lansky Blade Medic. And together, it was just under $40 for me. And right now, that's Canadian dollars. And right now, you can get the pair for $43. You can get it alone for $23 Canadian at Amazon.ca. In the US, you can get the knife for $14.30. You can get the pair for $20.63. Of course, when I'm speaking of Amazon.com, I'm speaking in American dollars. And Amazon.ca, I'm speaking in Canadian dollars. But back to this blade. With all the weight being here, it doesn't want to fly open. It doesn't gather momentum and then carry it with it all the way around. If you understand what I'm saying. If there was more weight back here, then once you've got it started moving with the initial flick, it would just keep flying. And that doesn't happen with this. So I can use either the hole to open it up, or I add some wrist motion to my flick, and then it opens up just fine. If you want to loosen up the pivot so much that it makes it easy to flip, you're going to find that the lockup gets loose too. So if you want the lockup to be nice and tight, and you've got an average flipping finger, you're probably going to want to do the wrist thing. And under this tripod kind of thing here, it's not really a tripod, but my camera stand makes it a little bit tricky sometimes. It's a liner lock. It locks up, right on time for mine. Not too early, but it's got nice room for wear. Nothing wrong with this lock. You can do the old bang test that used to be a really big thing about 7-8 years ago. I can do it against wood. I don't have any handy right here to show you, and it keeps the lock. It's a solid lockup. It's what a liner lock is supposed to be. Some liner locks are worse than others. This one's good. I like the two-tone glass-filled nylon. You can see sort of the pattern on it here. There's a little bit of a different pattern on the green than there is on the black. I'd like to see the same pattern throughout just for consistency. There's an MW there for Mikkel Willumsen and a nice, what's the word I'm looking for? It's sort of a chevron shape that sort of mimics the end of the green. So that looks good. It repeats itself. It's got the screw at the heel of the knife, sort of like a bolster, because of the way this is a really thick, I'm losing my words again, guys. I should make more extensive notes, but then I'd be reading. This back piece here has got a lot of heft to it. It's probably aluminum. It looks really good. This screw holds the knife together. These two screws here only hold the scale on. So as you can see right here in this shot, the black scale goes underneath the green. So you have to take the green off first. And then to take off the black, you also have to take out this pivot, and then you can take the black scale off if you really need to clean under there, but that's never going to happen under normal use. You won't need to. It's sort of like an open, you see my hand through there? So it's easy to clean. It's like half open, half closed at the back. It's got some jimping on this thumb ramp at the top, and it's soft but sort of bigger jimping so that the thumb can actually get in there kind of well. It's not too slippery and it's not too aggressive. It's actually pretty nice jimping right there. The liner lock has got some fine jimping, and it's great just the way it is. I never, lose it. It never hurts my hand. No, not hot at all. It just works well. The clip is really nice. It's a tiny bit weak for some people's standards. For me, it's pretty good. I like having it on the tip up carry position. It rides so very deep in the pocket. If my hand is a pocket, it just sort of sinks down and gives you a chance to hold on to it. You got your lanyard hole. If you want to have it the other way around, it's got a nice milled out section on the scale here to put the lanyard, to put the clip, and then it's going to sit in your pocket, and that's what's going to show. Not much, just a little bit. And that's grabbing the big end first, and you'll always be able to get it out. The compromise that I make with putting the clip on this side is if I've got other things in my pocket as well, it's more likely to catch. So what do you think of this knife? I think holding it the backhand way is even more comfortable, and it's very strong that way. You can jab into a block of ice to break it apart, whatever you need to do. Put it in something if you need to pry a little bit. This blade is so strong just with the shape and the thickness of it all the way down to the tip. Very, very strong. The heat treat is just great on this because I've done that, jamming it into wood and moving it around. Not hardwood, softwoods, mind you. But did you see something when I'm holding it like this? If you want to hold it and use it, to jab, it makes a hot spot right there, this flipper. The flipper gets in the way. That's the only hot spot creator on the whole device. So if you really like to open it slowly, if you really don't mind opening it slowly using this hole, or you don't mind flipping it open with some wrist action, I would go ahead and grind off a third of this flipper that's exposed here. So if you divide that space into 3, grind off or use your file and get rid of the last third of it, and then sort of make it nice and rounded. That's what I'm going to do with this. Since I'm not going to flip it completely this way anyways, because look how I have to hold the knife to do it, you know? I'm going to hold the knife like this and have the shorter flipper and use my wrist action. I'm totally convinced it's going to work. I've used a marker to, permanent marker, to show just how much that flipper I'm going to take off. Not an awful lot, but I think it's going to make a big difference. If you want to do the same thing yourself, if you've got a grinder at home or a file or whatever, I highly recommend that you mark it first, because if you don't, as you're working, you're not going to really know how far you've gone. And there you are. When it's open, it looks pretty nice. When it's closed, it looks nice. I can still, just the slightest bit of wrist action is all it takes, along with that flip. Oop. Remember, always cut towards your chum and not your thumb. Bye now.